Good day everyone, this is Ma'am Lani, your English teacher for today, and welcome to DCBEST MNHS English TV, our English Learning Hub. And for the duration of this lesson, week 6 from January 3 to January 7. And for our reference, English 7 Pivot 4A, Learner's Material, pages 29 to 32. When describing something, we often resort to making comparisons to establish a clearer idea of what we are trying to describe or explain. There are many types of comparisons in the English language, including the use of figures of speech like simile and metaphor. This lesson focuses on the use of other rhetorical devices like analogy in comparing things in order to describe or make a point. What can you say about a tree? Can a tree be associated to life? Human life is like a tree because just as a tree grows taller and wider throughout its life with the right nourishment, so do we. Grade 7. For you to have a meaningful idea, you can discuss this with your parents and you can also ask them how they relate their lives to a tree. I'm sure your parents have interesting things to share. As you explore week 6 of quarter 2, you will use of other rhetorical devices like analogy in comparing things in order to describe or make a point. To help you get a grasp of our lesson today, let's have an activity. Remember, this is not part of your output, so you can write the answers in your notebook or you can do it with me. In Learning Task 1, page 29, read, examine, and classify each sentence below as to simile, metaphor, or analogy. Number 1. He is as thin as a stick. And your answer is simile. Number 2. Life is like a bag of candies. You never know what you're going to get. And the answer is analogy. That's good. Number 3, life is a wonderful journey. Your answer is a metaphor. And number 4, this problem is a death sentence. What is your answer? Alright, very good. That is a metaphor. And number 5, teaching students requires the same passion you would give to plants in a garden. Nurture them, care for them, let them experience both light and dark. Soon, they will grow and bloom like we expect them to be. And the answer is analogy. That's very good. Number 6, her smile beams like the sun. What is your answer? Alright, that is a simile. Now, grade 7, were you able to accomplish the first activity? Was it easy for you to determine which sentence is an analogy, a metaphor, or a simile? Well done! I hope that you are now ready for the next activity. In In Learning Task 2, page 30, identify which of the statements below are true about analogy. In your notebook, write go if the statement is correct and no if it says otherwise. Okay, let's do it. Number 1. Analogy can show comparisons between unrelated things. What is your answer? Alright, go. Next, number 2. Analogy is just another term for simile. What is your answer? Alright, the answer is no. Next, number 3. Analogy can be used to explain a point. The answer is go. Very good. The next one, number 4. Some analogies compare relationships. The answer is alright, go. Number 5. Analogy can be used to describe unfamiliar concepts. The answer is go. Now, in comparing objects or ideas is a common practice, especially when writing. While there are many types of comparisons that one can make through usual figures of speech, like simile and metaphor, there are also literary techniques or devices that can show and provide a more detailed comparison of things and ideas. One example of these techniques is the use of analogy. Now, let's discuss what an analogy is. An analogy is a literary technique that involves comparison of how two things are alike, but with the ultimate goal of making a point about this comparison. Although often quite similar or related with simile and metaphor, an analogy is not a figures of speech. It is a rhetorical device used to make rational arguments and support ideas by showing connections and comparisons between unlike things. The main function of analogy is not just to show, but also to explain or justify. Meanwhile, figures of speech like simile or metaphor only aim to show without providing clear descriptions or explanations. As such, analogy is more complex in nature than figures of speech. Take a look at how simile, metaphor, and analogy differ from each other through these examples. Simile. The example is, life is like a tree. In metaphor, life is a tree. In analogy, life is just like a tree. It starts from a seedling that grows into a full-grown tree that has trunk and branches that make itself strong and bears wonderful fruits. Generally, there are two types of analogies commonly employed in writing. Number 1, analogies that identify identical relationships. And number 2, analogies that identify shared abstraction. Now let's talk about each type of analogy. Analogies that identify identical relationship. This type of analogy takes the form A is to B as C is to D, and is often used to directly illustrate similar relationships between two pairs of words, often for the purpose of logical argument. Analogies that identify identical relationships. So these are our example. English is the language. mathematics is to arithmetic. The example above vividly shows the connection between English and language and mathematics and arithmetic. English is basically a subject that focuses on language, while mathematics deals primarily with arithmetic or numbers. Then number 2, analogies that identify shared abstraction. So this form of analogy compares two things or concepts that are technically unrelated in order to establish a connection between a characteristic that they share. This type is common and useful in writing because it can make abstract ideas and concepts more concrete. Now, analogies that identify shared abstraction. This is the example. What soldiers do for the country, white blood cells do inside the body. In the given example, the abstract concept of how white blood cells function in the body is made clear by explaining that they protect everything inside, like how soldiers perform their sworn duty to protect their country. In writing, analogies play the function of making abstract concepts more concrete, adding depth and feeling to an image, and describing and making a point to establish an argument. Now, I think you are ready to accomplish your outputs to be submitted for week 6. But remember, make sure to make your answer sheet presentable with important details. Please follow the format. Okay, take a look at this format. You write your name, surname, given name, and then the middle initial. So at the right, you see quarter 2, week 6. Don't forget that. Your section, then the subject, English 7. And then in day 2, the learning task 4, page 31. Day 3, learning task 6, page 32. And day 4, learning task 6, page 22. For day 2, learning task 4. Complete the table below by providing an analogy for each of the given topics or situation that can be found on page 31. Okay, so it is divided into 2 columns. The first column is the given situation, and then the other one is my own analogy. So the given situation, on the first row, holding classes online. Next is keeping the family safe from COVID-19. The third one is buying essential goods during the enhanced community quarantine. Day 3, learning task 6. Think of or look for at least one popular song or poem which contains analogies. Provide a copy of the song, lyric, poem, and underline as many analogies as you can.
Day 3.
Day 3, learning task 6. Think of or look for at least one popular song or poem which contains analogies. Provide a copy of the song, lyrics, poem, and underline as many analogies as you can find in page 32. Day 3, in learning task 7, write a short essay about any of the topics listed below. Make sure to use analogies in describing or establishing your points that can be found on page 32. Alright, so letter A, the coronavirus pandemic in the eyes of a teenager. Letter B, being kind towards others in times of great need. And letter C, keeping the faith in the midst of problems. There you have it. You have successfully gone through week 6 of quarter 2. Congratulations! Just make sure that you will complete the answers in all the learning tasks before the submission. If you have comments or suggestions, you may reach out to your subject teacher through text message, call, or group chat in Messenger. And please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be updated on our new videos. And please don't skip ads. You can also like and share our videos so that other grade 7 students can also watch and learn. Bye! See you on our next session. Happy learning!